Well, construction continues on that new transit bridge over the Willamette in downtown for the Portland Streetcar, MAX, and buses. Already, the mayor has started talking about streetcar expansion east of MLK. So how will the streetcar expansion really pay for the bridge project, let alone any new plans?
Well, they're facing a budget deficit of more than $1 million, so leaders are now looking at possible fare increases. Chris Woodard is always investigating, and tonight he shows us there is some evidence that this strategy could backfire.
It is one of many ways in Portland to get from A to B.
We think it's going to continue to grow.
Service and routes are expanding, but because of it, Portland Streetcar is heading down a track to more financial trouble.
It's always difficult.
Already last year, Streetcar collected less than half the fare revenue they expected. So this year, the city transportation department helped out with an extra $200,000.
The city of Portland has kicked in sufficient money to maintain our operating level.
In fact, over the last 5 years, the City Bureau of Transportation has increased its yearly streetcar spending by more than $2 million.
It really is a money pit.
They're millions of dollars some argue could be going to other transportation priorities, from bike lanes to potholes.
Well, I think what we need to do now is figure out a way to reduce that deficit as much as possible so that we're not taking money out of the general fund.
With routes set to expand across the river and plans to increase frequency, there is already a lot of work well underway. But even Streetcar's executive director says all this work is going to lead to a $1.2 to $1.4 million deficit next July. Is there a concern that other areas will have to suffer if you do have to kick more money into Streetcar at that point?
We don't think so. It's too early to tell.
To help fill the gap, Streetcar board members are discussing an increase in fares. One option would be to more than double the ticket to match TriMet's $250 for 2 hours.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous. It's not really worth it to pay $250 to go, not very far, not very fast.
While the goal is to increase revenue, there is evidence a fare increase may have the opposite effect. In 2012, when Streetcar began charging $1 to ride instead of free, ridership actually went down despite the opening of a new East Side line.
Do you have concerns that people will stop riding if the fare goes up and ridership would go down?
Increasing the price can always make ridership go down. There's well-documented information about that.
With the operation costs increasing and the possibility of a fare increase driving down ridership, the city may find itself on the hook for even more cash.
We'll monitor fares. We'll continue to learn about how fares go up and down, and we'll adjust as needed.
Streetcar supporters are focusing on the positive. They continue to increase service, part of the reason operating costs are going up. And last year, ridership overall was higher than ever.
It still comes back down to, yes, we need more revenue always.
They're convinced the changes, while expensive, are worth it, no matter who pays for it in the long run. In Portland, Chris Woodard, KOIN 6 News.
Now, Streetcar, the city, and TriMet are all in discussions right now about how much each should pay to fund this expanded service. As for the rate increase, the Streetcar Citizens Advisory Committee will hold a public hearing around the end of October. Then they'll make a recommendation, but ultimately it will be up to the Transportation Department's new director to decide whether fares should go up and by how much. Stay with KOIN 6 News as we track the new developments involving the Portland Streetcar project. And if you would like an issue for us to look into, email us your questions to news@koin.com or submit it on our website.